Let's take a look at some information charts on waves for Brave New Coin. I always like to kind of start at the Twitter accounts of these various projects. So Waves is a powerful blockchain agnostic, ecosystem focused, interchain DeFi, blah, 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 technological freedom, blah, blah, blah. They've got NFTs, DeFi, they've got an exchange. They've been working hard to promote any of that stuff. I don't think much of it has really moved the needle for Waves. It had a bit of a speculative price wave that is waning or has been waning. And we'll take a look at that at the end. But they have some baseline things to get us started. You can't say that, unlike some of these other chains that don't even have this stuff sort of baked in, Waves at least has an exchange. They have a swap platform. They have stable coins. They have NFTs even, right? These duck things. I have no idea what they are, but they exist. And Waves is a staking coin. We can look at total participation and adjusted rewards, which are less than 1%. You basically get better rewards with stable coins on anything Ethereum. So it's always a hard ask to stake a volatile asset with lower rewards than a non-volatile asset with higher rewards. So that is automatically not a draw for Waves versus just stablecoin yields and interest. SwapFi is the name of their swap platform, and it looks great. It looks just like Ethereum stuff, which is exactly what you want it to be, kind of verbatim. It's succeeded. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. They have pooling things you can do with the various stablecoins, kind of like Curve, kind of like any of the AMMs, right? This is exactly what every single chain needs to do if they want to compete with Ethereum for TVL, for eyeballs, for attention. So in that regard, Waves is doing it right. The TVL bot I was using on Telegram to get information about the TVL is no longer available, so I have no idea what the TVLs are. If you've got a website or information on that, let me know in the comments below. But that's always important to look at. It's a way to quantify attention, eyeballs, capital, right? Is TVL rising or falling? Where's the TVL at? That sort of thing. And they have a nice investments tab, governance, farming, right? I don't advocate to do any of these things, but this is exactly what every single chain needs to do. It's what BSC did and succeeded in a big way. I don't hear much about this Waves platform outside of myself talking about it. So I don't think it's been too successful in that regard, but it's here and it appears to be working. And that's the first step. I don't think it's enough to get people off of Ethereum, but it's something. They also have the exchange side of things, waves.exchange, with some questionable APYs and questionable marketing, Lambo investments, stuff like that. They do have USDC, USDT. If you want risk, this is the place you go, right? 152% APY on algorithmic trading. I don't know anything about this stuff other than what it tells me here. So again, I'm not advocating to move money into any of these things, but just be aware that they do exist. Wave staking here, it says it's up to 6% versus what staking rewards was telling me. So if these APYs are real, they're way better than Ethereum by several multiples, but I just don't know how valid these numbers are. This is the exchange, looks like BitMEX, looks like Binance, looks like Bitfinex, right? The UI looks like every other trading exchange. Exactly what they needed to do. Again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need something that works, that everybody's comfortable and familiar with. I haven't used this. I don't know anything about the liquidity or the front running or anything, right? It's denominated in waves. At least some of the pairs are. Some of the pairs are denominated in USDN, which is Neutrino. They're a stablecoin for the Waves platform. So it appears to be working. Some more info, wavescap.com has some info on circulating supply of some of this stuff along with volume on the exchange. Duck Egg, possibly their NFT thing, I'm not sure. Looks like they have Monero pairs as well, or a pair for Monero. So early stages, but this is what you need if you want to compete with Ethereum and some of the liquidity mining stuff. Again, I don't advocate for any of this, but it exists. It's a thing competing with, or attempting to compete with Unisushi, 1inch, 0x, right? That sort of stuff. If we look at the transaction counts for Waves, the token, way down since 2020, way down since 2019, and just sort of flatlining in 2021, all the way down to 3,000 active address or transactions per day. So definitely the opposite of bullish, no matter how you try to slice that. Active addresses, though, continue to increase, which is common as you see transactions decline. You see average transaction values rather increasing. NVT has risen dramatically throughout the year and then has fallen over the past few weeks, which is bullish and should be seen as bullish. Active addresses, though, are just kind of flat, slightly rising, but overall, not much has changed here despite all of the DeFi stuff, the exchange stuff. You can't really tell, right, that any of that exists on the on-chain metrics. So fundamentals are early for Waves still, despite being a pretty old coin. You know, they've gotten with the ball, at least, in that they need to do something to get eyeballs and attention. And they got rewarded for that in the token price in mid-2020, right? That's when things started to turn up, turned up even more in 2021. But ultimately, the MA multiplier is correct again, in that it told you to buy in the bear market and to sell exactly kind of at the top here around 35 to 40, just like it has done twice in the past. So this wouldn't be a buy until it's sub 10, based on mean reversion principles, based on previous bear markets. You know, this could be in a bear market for 2 years at this point. It took 2 years to get out of the doldrums below that 365 MA multiplier. If we look at the 50 to 200 yearly pivots VPVR volume and RSI, this is on Bittrex, much like Poloniex. Very few people trade on Bittrex anymore, but they do have data for older coins like Waves. And again, there's a lot of volume support below 10, and the 50 and the 200 will likely cross bearish over the next week or two. And ultimately, this just needs to relax. Clearly, euphoria mania kicked in on everything in May, and now all those people just need to get washed out, you know, back to 10, back to 650, whatever it takes. This thing is probably just done for a considerable amount of time. Against BTC, it's done reasonably well, but historically over time, you know, since 2018, it's basically just in a range, hasn't really done anything. There's some support just below the 200-day moving average based on volume, but most of the support is back at the yearly open. And this just, to me, doesn't really look too tradable. You could maybe argue a diagonal inverted head and shoulders, but in general, this historically hasn't really done much other than range, and Waves ETH has ranged even longer, even harder, even tighter. Hasn't really done much of anything historically on this chart on Binance. You know, it'll have these crazy spikes up and down, but ultimately it's probably just going to hold within 0.05 to 0.1 against ETH. Maybe when ETH goes proof of stake, you'll see some changes in this for the better or the worse. Maybe if Waves DeFi picks up a little bit, you'll see changes in this relative to ETH. But it's pretty clear that ETH is the de facto leader based on on-chain metrics relative to anything else in the DeFi ecosystem. So kind of like all of crypto right now, technicals just need to relax a little bit more, a little bit longer, reset those means, and in this case, get back to near 10 or lower, potentially 650 based on volume. Lastly, I'll just mention ETH-BTC fund and DeFi portfolio. I trade for Techemy Capital on Enzyme.finance, where you can send ETH or USDC into the smart contract or just watch what I'm doing. Everything's transparent. AUM allocation performance. You can see me getting in and out of Aave, Yearn, trading through Paraswap, trading through ZRX, trading through Kyber. You can see the amounts. You can see the times. You can see exactly what I'm doing and when. You can see everything I'm doing in DeFi. I'm in a bunch of vaults. I'm in a bunch of yield plays. I'm holding a bunch of coins on the DeFi side of things. And again, you can see all the trades, deposits, withdrawals. You can see people getting in and out. All transparent. So that's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.